Let's set sail tonight, but out of Nigeria, as President Bola Tinubu has met with his host, Paul Kagame, for bilateral talks. The Oruguero presidential villa was the port of call after President Tinubu arrived in Kigali. President Kagame received the visiting president with a military honor at the Rwandan presidential villa. Both leaders had their bilateral meeting behind closed doors. Nigerian Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Jumoke Oduwole, speaks about the two presidents' participation at the Africa CEO Forum, kicking off in Kigali tomorrow.
Very cordial. You know the sacrifice it is for the president to be here at this time, signifying the importance of the relationship between the two countries and why Mr. President is here today. They're both leaders in the AFCFTA. As you know, Nigeria is co-champion on digital trade. We talked about how to leverage the African Continental Free Trade Area. They talked about the importance of accelerating the pace at which we're trading. We talked about ongoing relations. You know, last year we entered into an air cargo corridor arrangement with Uganda Airways. We're also in talks with Rwandan Airways to see how Nigerian businesses can export more of their goods across the continent. And so those are the kinds of trading goods and trading services. We also had the discussion from other colleagues, briefing both presidents, and it was a very fruitful deliberation.
Meanwhile, Nigeria is leveraging the Nigeria-France Business Council to seek support for the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, for maximum benefit of the agreement. It was at the Council's meeting on the sidelines of the just concluded Africa-France Summit 2026 in Nairobi. State House correspondent Musbao Danwahab has all the details.
Nigerian investors, including Aliko Dangote, Abdulsamad Rabiu, and their French counterparts, leveraged the Africa France Summit to again strengthen their partnerships. It was the 10th meeting of the Nigeria-France Business Council. They recognized themselves as the driving force for a sustainable and protective partnerships between the two countries with exchange of investments across. Nigeria currently represents 7% of France's total trade in Africa and leading destination of French foreign direct investment in sub-Saharan Africa. Nigerian Minister of Industry, Trade and Investments, Jumoke Oduwole, said Nigeria is taking steps to lead intra-Africa trade and a more integrated continental markets, which she wants the Council to also champion. Chairman of Bua Group, Abdulsamad Rabiu, recommends 3 foundations needed for the transformation of the continent to include capital, policy integration and value addition has been demonstrated in the Nigerian cement industry.
Value addition so that all the resources that we have here in Africa will be able to add value to them. Instead of exporting everything in their raw form, we process them here, add value, and then export. If you take cocoa, for example, I keep giving this example because it's very interesting. 4 countries in Africa, in fact West Africa, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Nigeria, and Cameroon, they produce 75% of the total global supply of cocoa. This is a $200 billion industry annually, yet Africa gets only a fraction, maybe 10, probably 15% of that. So these are the areas that we need, to concentrate on.
The Council also commended the African House in France, initiated by President Emmanuel Macron to deepen trade relations between both countries.
What that does is, if completed, that is a venue where Africans will have the opportunity to dialogue, to connect, to collaborate, and also to build partnerships, across so many different sectors, industry, business, culture, innovation, in France, with the French people. So I think it's an important thing. We welcomed, the idea, and we are going to the African business community. We are going to fully support that project.
The Council proposes one more meeting ahead of the French president's visit to Nigeria, scheduled for October this year. From Nairobi, Musbal and Wahab, NC News.
In the meantime, Nigeria has raised concerns over the high cost and scarcity of fertilizer across Africa, a situation triggered by the ongoing crisis in the Middle East. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, who is part of President Bola Tinubu's delegation to the France-Africa Summit, held meetings with the International Fund for Agricultural Development and other development partners. Musa Babaliu reports.
Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, is among the delegates who accompanied President Bola Tinubu to the just concluded France-Africa Summit in Nairobi, Kenya. On the sidelines of the summit, the minister participated in a meeting organized by the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD. The meeting focused on the challenges affecting agricultural productivity and food security across the African continent.
And unless the farmer is a focus, we will not be able to sustain our agri-food systems in Africa.
Abubakar Kyari noted that the continent is facing a severe shortage of fertilizer, which has significantly driven up the prices of the input. He said Nigeria is already developing a strategy to cushion the impacts and ensure that fertilizer is readily available and affordable to farmers. The minister called on France and other development partners to support Nigeria and other African countries in improving food security initiatives. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Let's look at other issues now, as the federal government of Nigeria has fixed June 17, 2026 as the date for the official launch of digital switchover, DSO, that is, the migration from analog to digital signals in Nigeria. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, during a facility tour at the Nigerian Communication Satellite Limited, NIGCOMSAT, says Nigeria is set to play major impact in global digital economy, in line with the agenda of the renewed hope. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
Better late than never, this best described Nigeria's journey to digital switchover, DSO, haven't skipped the original 2015 global migration deadline. Despite the delays and technical challenges, the renewed commitment by the current administration has paved the way towards achieving improved television broadcasting quality, increased digital broadcasting coverage, growth in local content production, as well as better utilization of broadcast spectrum.
We're all over Nigeria and beyond. And now we are updating the list of channels. We're going to have 100 channels by the day of launch, and even more, because more content producers are talking to us.
It's important that for us the service is reliable. It is important for us that the service delivery is perfect and the technology is continuous.
As the coordinator of digital switchover, the Minister of Information and National Orientation inspected digital facilities at the Direct-to-Home Center at the Nigerian Communication Satellite premises, alongside heads of agencies that are driving the process.
For many years, Nigerians have been grappling with this idea of the DSO, the digital switchover. In other words, moving our transmissions from the analog to the digital. Now this has happened and is ready to be commissioned by the 17th of June this year. We've gone around the facilities. We have already seen that many of the channels have already been unbundled here. This is going to bring a lot of advantages to all the broadcasters, the viewers, and everybody, the advertisers. The collaboration between NIGCOMSAT and NBC, and the bigger collaboration between the Ministry of Communication and the Ministry of Information and National Orientation is making this to happen. And we thank President Bola Tinubu for providing all the resources that we require for us to deliver this to Nigerians.
Come June 17, 2026, Nigerian Communication Satellite will deliver improved picture and sound quality, increase the number of television channels, promote local television content, and create more jobs in broadcasting and technology to boost economic growth through digital economy. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
Let's move into the courtroom now, as the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has sentenced the former Minister of Power, Saleh Maman, to 11 consecutive terms of 7 years imprisonment each for his involvement in embezzling over 33 billion naira while in office. Judiciary correspondent Austin Anyebe reports that the court acknowledged the abscondment of the convict during the judgment proceedings.
Salim Mamman was appointed as the Minister of Power during the last administration and relieved of his appointment in 2021. He was arraigned before the Federal High Court, Abuja, by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for embezzling 33.8 billion naira of government funds while in office as a minister. The court, having found him guilty previous week, proceeded to sentence him to jail for the crime. Though he was absent in court, Justice James Omotosho on counts 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12 sentenced the convict to 7 years imprisonment. The sentencing is to run consecutively and not concurrently. The court ordered security agencies to arrest the convict wherever he may be found so that he can serve his term of imprisonment. Also, the various sums of foreign and local currencies recovered from him and properties acquired through fraud are to be forfeited to the federal government. In Abuja, Austin Anyebe, NT News.
All right, let's pause briefly. News Extra continues shortly. Please stay with us.
The maiden edition of the International Civil Service Conference demonstrated the value of collaboration between government and the private sector. ICSC 2026, themed Reforms, Resilience, and Results, returns as a premier platform for organizations seeking to engage with government, showcase innovation, and contribute to national development. Partners and sponsors will benefit from premium brand visibility.
Many thanks for staying with us. Judges of the Federal High Court have again been reminded of the relevance of upholding integrity and sanctity of the judicial profession, especially in the administration of justice concerning multifaceted legal disputes before the courts arising from bank liquidation. This was brought to the fore at the sensitization seminar for Federal High Court judges organized by the Nigeria Depositors Insurance Corporation, NDIC, in conjunction with the National Judicial Institute, NJI, held in Lagos. Amaka O reports.
This is a rare gathering of judges of the federal high courts from across the country with a theme enhancing the efficacy of bank liquidation and depositor protection. This also addresses challenges and complexity associated with changes in the evolving legal and financial landscape. To this end, the representative of the managing director of the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, Thompson Oludare, and administrator of the National Judicial Institute say the constructive engagement is to tackle challenges encountered in the face of operational realities of bank resolution.
If we would need preferential treatment is actually in terms of timing. We need to realize those debts owed to the banks, so we can pay dividends and pay up depositors that their monies are trapped in the closed banks.
Collaboration between the NJI and NDIC is to further ensure that justice is done in related and issues affecting the functions of the NDIC.
Consistency in legal proceedings was reiterated by the Judiciary and the NDIC, given that decisions made at the federal high courts significantly affect the effectiveness of bank resolution to liquidate in the event of bank failure.
The federal high court is often required to reconcile these competing interests while ensuring that both the judicial and regulatory processes are not used in a manner that undermines statutory objectives.
The NDIC does everything in its arsenal, and it has been empowered by the Act, NDIC Act Bofia, to make sure priority is given to depositors.
Various paper presentations by some intellectual giants in the legal profession focused on garnishee proceedings and liquidation estate, reconciling judgment, enforcement with depositor protection, among others. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
In other news, in preparation for the special summit on the future of regional integration in West Africa, a compact has been presented before the ECOWAS Parliament at the ongoing ordinary session holding in Abuja. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports that the document seeks to rebuild trust between citizens and the state by ensuring that regional integration is irreversible.
In view of the evolving regional and global political and security dynamics, The Authority of Heads of State and Government on 7 July 2024 directed the ECOWAS Commission to convene a special summit on the future of regional integration in West Africa.
The compact candidly addresses the withdrawal of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. It establishes a framework for structured dialogue and confidence-building measures to prevent permanent regional fragmentation.
Hadn't been, these three states are not out of ECOWAS. This just recent attack on Mali, probably ECOWAS will be keeping it.
Because if we set targets in the past and we didn't meet them, of what use is it for me to be convinced that the new targets you are setting forward in whatever document you have put forward, calling it compact, will ever work? The simplest of them would have been free movement of goods and persons. Is it working?
ECOWAS, we must step up. People continue to ask, where is ECOWAS? What are they doing?
From the suggestions made, it is clear that there is need to enhance the powers of the ECOWAS Parliament into a legislative assembly and to strengthen compulsory oversight of the implementation of the compact.
If implemented, the compact for the future of regional integration will make the body to move from an elite-driven political bloc to an ECOWAS of the people. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Many thanks, Mohammed, for the update. And to discuss further on peace and security in the region, we have joining us for a conversation Abdul Karagbo, member of the Sierra Leone delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament. Many thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Now, the Commission's recent overview suggests the regional project is facing its most delicate phase since it began in 1975, largely due to weaknesses in governance and the rise of alternative regional alliances. How do you interpret this assessment?
The assessment is realistic and should not be ignored. This is one of the moments in the history of ECOWAS that they are faced with several challenges. Simultaneously, they are handling insecurity in certain states, also democratic decline. We have countries that we have democratically elected presidents, and these presidents are flouting the laws of the countries, the constitution, and they are also handling that. And they are handling also unconstitutional change of government. You would agree with me that we have 3 member states that have opted out of ECOWAS because of coup d'etats. And we are handling also a decline in trust in independent institutions. Institutions like electoral commissions across the region, like who are expected to be independent, you know. The public trust is declining. We are also handling in the sub-region increasing prices of commodities. You know, the economic difficulty is very serious. So there are a lot of issues that are ongoing now that makes it very, very difficult. And also you would agree with me that the emergence of the Sahel is not out of a democratic or diplomatic disagreement. It's out of the fact that certain states have issues with security cooperation or with governance, and they decided to take power undemocratically. In as much as we as ECOWAS condemn undemocratic, you know, and unconstitutional change of government, we also, because today we had the commissioner in charge of peace and security, one thing he pointed out very seriously is that we should also pay attention to the democratic tenet of existing government. in the sub-region.
Fantastic, Mr. Carbo. From all that you've said, there have also been calls for a fundamental rethink of the West African integration agenda, shifting from an elite-led political arrangement to one that is more people-centered, particularly within the economic community of West African states. Now, in practical terms, how can this transition be achieved?
Well, when you talk about people-centered, because we are a community parliament, and ECOWAS is established to ensure that it makes life very comfortable for a citizen. But we cannot have regional integration when we do not come out with policies that impact the lives of our citizens. You would agree with me that from every stretch of one's imagination, that where poverty exists, regional integration becomes very impossible. So for us to make the Parliament or ECOWAS as a whole people-centered, ECOWAS institutions have to work hand in glove with civil society organizations, with youth groups, women's group, with the private sector, and has to ensure that our policies are not only at summit. They have to affect, to touch the lives of ordinary citizens. That was why the Parliament was established. It cannot also be people-centered when integration is also questionable. Now, to travel across the member state is very difficult. It's very difficult and expensive. So we have to ensure that to enhance regional integration and to make it people-centered, that policies geared about creating jobs and making regional integration very easy.
All right, many thanks. Because of time, Mr. Carbo, I think we'd have to leave the conversation at that. We hope that, the ECOWAS is able to do the needful, and of course, members benefit, the people in particular. Many thanks, Abdul Carbo, for joining us on News Extra tonight.
Thanks for having me.
All right, now let's look at other stories tonight, as the security situation in southern Kaduna has greatly improved and should be sustained through the collaboration between the indigents and the federal government. This was at a summit convened by the ATIAP Professionals Network in Abuja with the theme, Let's Build Together. They note that with peace, it is time to return home and invest in growing communities.
Of course, the security agents have been doing their job. They've been working very hard around the clock to ensure that peace returns to every part.
What even encouraged and gave us the morale for us to start doing what we are doing is because of the relative peace that we are enjoying in southern Kaduna. People are back to their farms, shops are opening, and things like livelihood has returned. So with confidence that we have, that we are calling our sons and daughters everywhere to come and invest back home and also be part of this project.
The professionals made presentation on various community projects they plan to embark upon to further develop and secure the area. The projects include agriculture, technology, and skills acquisition, in addition to entrepreneurship development for the youths.
Professionals network, we just want to give back.
The youths have risen up now, and we're taking over from where our fathers stopped, and we're taking our city to another level. We want to impact our people, impact the people of Atiap land, and it's a revolution, and it has started.
Deliberations on community-based security support for fight against insecurity also featured. Still talking about security, but let's move to Kaduna. And with peace returning to the once troubled sports in Kaduna State, focus has shifted to infrastructural development. Haruna Mohammed tells us that road infrastructure is the main priority. Haruna joins us now.
It has been an eventful period in Kaduna, but not only for politics. This has significantly not affected governance. The Kaduna State government seems to be mustering the needed impetus in delivering infrastructure, facilitating the movement of people, goods and services with impact on the socio-economy and security of the state. One of such projects is this Kabalo-Costin road linking Barnawa at its 90% completion. I am with the Managing Director, Kaduna State Road Agency, Abdullahi Baba Ahmed to tell us more on this.
When he came on board, His Excellency initiated 150 number new routes, totaling 1,345 kilometers across the 23 local government of Kaduna State. When he came on board, there was statistics. We've carried out a statistic. We realized that 12 local government could not benefit from a single completed kilometer of road. For the past 12 years, His Excellency said that is unacceptable. So he initiated all this road across the 23 local government. This local government that stayed for the past 12 years abandoned. 6 of these local government are in southern Kaduna. That is, we have Jaba, we have Kagarko, we have Kauru, we have Zangonkata, we have Kaura, and 3 local government in Zone 2. We have Giwa, Birningwari, and Kajuru, and 3 local government in Zone 1. Kudan, Soba, and Makarfi local government. So as we speak, all the 23 local government in Kaduna State have benefited from a completed road project.
With the urban poor and rural transformation on top gear, the residents of Kaduna are optimistic that Kaduna is now taking shape as a smart city, and the rural communities will no longer have to undergo untold hardship in transportation.
Thank you, Haruna. And as the current administration rounds off its 3rd year at the helm this month, Larry Gbile joins us from Lagos tonight. Larry says in spite of the thick political season, the federal government and its counterparts at the state level are striving to make sure all key projects are delivered. Larry, let's hear you.
Well, I'll tell you for a fact that when the federal government just last week was awarding contracts on 3 bridges to contractors, it raised an eyebrow that, look, the election is far approaching, and the norm is that around this time, things will start slowing down a little bit. And you can't blame them. Everybody's holding to their cards to see where the wind blows. But not this present administration. The 3 bridges in Lagos that have, they're having a lot of difficulties, the Marina Bridge, the Carter Bridge, and the Eco Bridge, they are going to have a new facelift. And the schedule is there. Ministry of Works is telling them that they must follow the schedule to the letter. And also the legacy projects going on here, not far from here, the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway is going on. And the minister said firmly that all these projects must be completed as scheduled. Let's take a listen to him.
And Section 2 project, 50% is done. And so we hope that by this November, we will also complete Section 2 and have it, commissioned. They are doing exactly the same in Sokoto. We are doing in Kebbi. We are doing in Badagry. We are doing in Oyo. We are doing in Ogun. We are doing in Cross River. We are doing in Akwa Ibom. We are doing in Ebonyi. We are doing in Benue. We are doing in Kogi. We are doing in Jos. We are doing in Gombe. We are doing in Ebu. And so these legacy projects, 4 of them, that are scattered all through the entire 6 geopolitical zones.
The minister insisted that the federal government is not going to stop, despite the fact that the election is far approaching. And that's the way things are right now in Lagos.
Thank you, Larry. Interesting. Now, in his efforts to bring the grassroots development in Yagba Federal Constituency, the House of Representatives member, Leke Abejide, has donated 710 million naira to 71 communities in the constituency for various community projects. Solomon Ayedehin reports that the initiative kick-started in Alu Kogi State as part of activities marking his birthday.
The beauty of democracy lies in the ability of elected office holders to give back to their constituents. This has to do with the implementation of projects and programs aimed at making life better for the people. This is why the National Assembly member representing Yagba Federal Constituency, Leke Abejide, is justifying the confidence reposed in him through the payment of annual WAEC fees, youth and women empowerment, road rehabilitation and security support services in his constituency, among other community development projects projects to impact his constituents. Representative Leke Abejide is therefore funding the communities with various sums of money to complete community projects in 71 communities in Yagba Federal Constituency.
This time, we look at the infrastructural deficits in the communities, and then I ask them to pick projects that is not more than 50 million in each community. So we are starting the disbursement of the first tranche. The second tranche will come very early next year.
The money being disbursed is for them to do something in the community that will benefit everybody.
What is happening today, we have not seen it in the history of this community.
Honestly, what I've seen today is one of its kind. It has never happened in the history of the Yagba Federal Constituency. It has never happened in Kogi State.
I've never seen somebody who have the passion of his people to be giving them direct cash, 10 million per community. It's a surprise to me.
What we are witnessing today, it can only be God. We have never experienced such as far as the Yagba Federal Constituency is concerned.
Every community will now have evidence of the representation of Honorable Leke Abejide.
Leke Abejide, as I've said earlier, is unique. We have never had it so good.
This money we are going to judiciously use it.
Leke Abejide, who is seeking the people's support for President Tinubu's re-election in 2027, expresses his commitment to bring more legacy projects to his constituency if given the mandate come 2027. Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
Let's take another. Welcome back. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, North Central, Dr. Abiodun Esiet, says efforts are ongoing to cushion the effects of subsidy removal and prefer lasting solution to critical issues, including security and power supply in the country. She was responding to issues raised at the Citizen Assembly for Kogi West in Kaba, Kogi State. Solomon Ayedehi has details of this and other activities of the Senior Special Assistant to the President.
Interaction with the people at the grassroots is key to good governance, as it assists government to obtain first-hand information required to effect positive changes in the society. It is in view of this that the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, North Central, Dr. Abiodun Esiet, is in Kaba, Kogi State for the Citizen Assembly with selected stakeholders in Kogi Western Senatorial District. Stakeholders drawn from the 7 local government areas of the district raised a number of issues such as kidnapping and banditry, farmers' herders clashes, access roads, and adequate power supply, among others. They appreciate government's interventions on security matters and stress the need to step up efforts towards lasting solutions.
This is even the first time as you have been hearing the testimony inside, where we are feeling the impact of federal government in all our various communities. And when you look at it, it's not just a mere sale, it's not just a mere meeting. It's something that we have been engaging ourselves for some times, and we have been seeing results.
Now that they have someone that is engaged the local people, and they have all the record, I will advise the President to listen to her and check all the record and know the next step.
The community engagement program is one of the best things that happened to Nigeria, because the federal government will be feeling the impulse of the community. The people from the grassroots can speak to our leaders at the federal government.
Responding, the Senior Special Assistant to the President assures stakeholders that their requests will be presented to the appropriate quarters for necessary attention.
Today they've identified some issues related to electricity, related to insecurity, and also water supply. So we have addressed them, we have documented their concerns, and all those concerns will be channeled to Mr. President. We don't just remove fuel subsidy, we're using it to address the community needs. I'm not here to say we want to share rice. I'm here to tell them that the money that we said we have removed from fuel subsidy, we are channeling it to empowering our people.
Dr. Esiet, at the end of the Citizen Assembly, inspected ongoing rehabilitation work on Kaba-Egbe-Ilorin Highway.
work is going on, and the speed at which the work is going on is impressive. And we're happy with the contractors that are working on this road.
Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu's administration in the agri sector is set to enhance agricultural growth and farmers' welfare with the proposed Cooperative Bank of Nigeria, shared capital and digitalization reforms. The Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, stated this during his meeting held in Lagos State with cooperative leaders from Southwest Geopolitical Zone. Mwabufo Moye has the details.
Ministerial advocacy tour flag off in Lagos State is the national rollout of the Renewed Hope Cooperative Reform Program designed to achieve share capital mobilization for the Cooperative Bank of Nigeria, a proposed institution to be solely owned and managed by cooperators.
Every cooperative society will have a cooperative ID. That is, cooperative members will have cooperative ID. But the cooperative society will have what we call cooperative verification number. All of this will be linked to the national identity, system. And at the end of the day, if a cooperator is located in one state and wants to move to another state, it becomes easier for his operation to be seen.
In Lagos State, we are working to redefine cooperatives as a modern economic platform for technology-enabled entrepreneurship, the creative industry, and digital commerce and agribusiness.
I really appreciate our President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for bringing us such proposal to cooperators in Nigeria.
We know ourselves more, especially those that are not registered. They'll be able to register and we will all be one.
The advocacy tour also sensitizes cooperators on their roles as shareholders and effective management of profits through standardized regulatory framework. In Lagos, Mwabufo Moye, NTA News.
Let's talk about the power sector quickly now, as Nigeria's power sector stands at another defining moment as Joseph Tegbe prepares to take the oath of office as Minister of Power. Expectations are high, and so are the challenges. Joshua Ojito takes a look at the task before the new minister.
For millions of Nigerians, electricity remains a daily struggle. From homes to hospitals and industries, unreliable power supply continues to slow economic growth.
Sometimes we get light, maybe 30 minutes. It will go. We are just appealing to the minister so that our light will change.
At the heart of the problem is inadequate gas supply to power plants, aging transmission infrastructure, weak distribution networks, and wide metering gap. The sector is also faced with liquidity crisis and frequent grid disturbances. Industry players say the new minister faces a clear agenda: stabilize the grid, improve gas to power coordination, accelerate metering delivery nationwide, strengthen transmission capacity, and most importantly, restore investor and customers' confidence.
We welcome the new Minister of Power, and I can see he's enthusiastic. The enthusiasm, and that gladdens my heart that when I read, saw his movement and the statement, I was impressed. The challenge has been to make sure that there's stability in the grid system. In Europe, there's an integrated system.
The success, they believe, would depend on collaboration between government agencies, investors and subnationals as Nigeria moves toward a more decentralized electricity market.
For Nigerians, the expectation is simple: reliable, affordable and sustainable electricity. And as the new Minister of Power steps into office, the question is not about diagnosing the problem. It is about delivering power supply to end users. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
We hope that the new minister would have the power to fix the power sector, of course. Now, close your eyes for a moment and then imagine you will never see again. Well, the feeling will tell you the importance of eyesight. No wonder the Borno State government, in collaboration with the Alliance with International Doctors, launched the 4th phase of its free cataract surgery and eye care program, targeting over 1,500 beneficiaries across the state. Umar Dimbarima will tell us about it.
The program, currently taking place at the eye hospital, is to restore sight to vulnerable residents suffering from cataracts and other related conditions. More good news is the Chief Medical Director of the Hospital Management Board, Professor Kullima, says the 4th phase will not be the last, as more phases are being planned. He urges people with eye problems to take advantage of the opportunity and assures the public that the state government remains committed to delivering quality healthcare services to the people.
We operated on 200 patients as part of the commissioning, and we are planning to, reach that 10,000 number. And at the next phase, we intend to carry out in view where we are going to mobilize the patient and commence, the exercise.
The leader of the Alliance with International Doctors team, Yasir Gavi, said the organization is committed to ensuring that vulnerable patients with cataracts and other common eye conditions benefit from the program. He described Borno as one of the states benefiting from the initiative.
For the operated patients, they take their treatment. They are fully instructed about all of their method of treatment, the precautions that you should care of. But we tell the patients, please, don't wait until you lose the second eye. This is our biggest problem.
For the beneficiaries, it is thanks and appreciation to the state government and its partners for giving attention to the eye health challenges. The Borno state government is targeting 10,000 vulnerable people living with cataracts and other eye conditions before the end of this year. In Maiduguri, Umar Jimbarima, NTA News.
Nigeria is working to strengthen rehabilitation services through the implementation of the WHO Rehabilitation 2030 initiative to integrate care at all levels. In this report, Elizabeth Fomori examines this initiative, plans for implementation to address rehabilitation needs before 2030.
Life, they say, can change in a heartbeat. One moment, everything feels normal. The next, a sudden stroke, a road crash, or a major surgery changes the course of a person's life forever. And in those difficult moments, the question is often no longer just about survival. It becomes about what happens after the long emotional journey of learning to walk again, speak again, walk again, or simply live independently once more. As Nigeria's population grows and ages, stories like these are becoming increasingly common, placing rehabilitation at the center of conversations about the future of healthcare. The global strategy was launched in 2017 to strengthen health systems and make rehabilitation services available to everyone. The good news, however, is that Nigeria is now joining a global initiative to make rehabilitation services an integral part of healthcare delivery. Under the World Health Organization's Rehabilitation 2030 initiative, Nigeria is making rehabilitation a next major health priority. To better understand the process, the response to this growing need, NTA News visited the Medical Rehabilitation Therapist Board.
The WHO, the Rehabilitation Technical Working Group, the board, the ministry are working now on developing a strategic plan. And therefore, we see in the next 2 to 3 months, we are going to have a plan and a policy. Take it to National Council on Health, maybe in November, by the ministry, gets it approved. We are in 2026. And therefore, you are going to have a strategic plan possibly that will begin from 2027 to 2032, possibly. But even before that, the ministry has started initiating action. The minister approved integration of rehabilitation into primary healthcare. In fact, equipping of some primary healthcare centers.
He claims that efforts are now focused on integrating rehabilitation services.
Services will be available at the primary healthcare level. Not just the primary healthcare level, at the community level. But to have these services will require the effort of all stakeholders.
But experts also warn that without affordable access, many vulnerable Nigerians could still be left behind.
People in the hinterland can access care for free because now we work with state government. We've encouraged every state government to have their own functional health insurance agencies.
Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Now time to talk business, and Benny Adams is here. Benny.
I'll begin business with sharing news where Nigeria is to receive more than £365 million in fresh development financing from Germany as both countries conclude government-to-government negotiations aimed at expanding cooperation across energy, agriculture, trade and private sector development. The package comprises a £65 million grant facility already committed, alongside a proposed £300 million credit line designed to mobilize public and private sector investment towards meeting the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in the country. Budget and Economic Planning Minister Abubakar Atiku Bagudu says the agreement reflects the gains of Nigeria's ongoing economic reforms, which he described as laying the groundwork for stronger private sector engagement and wider investment inflows.
Any amount that is given in furtherance of proof of concept support towards sustainable development goals is appreciated, but the real money is with the private sector. Thank you for the credit line, and we will challenge ourselves to ensure that we exhaust the credit line. But more importantly, the acknowledgement that our reforms are getting the support they needed, and the assurance give you that we will sustain the reforms, deepen them and sustain.
We are here today to have concrete new agreements on economic cooperation, on deepening value chains in the agri-food system, transforming agri-food system. We are looking at important programs in the energy sector, the transmission program, the presidential power initiative and transmission. And we are very much working together to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals in Nigeria.
Well, now from credit lines to return on investment on stocks, talking about the Nigerian capital market, where the market saw some serious action today as investors pushed the market harder than yesterday, with a total value of shares traded jumping significantly despite a slight decline in the number of individual deals signed. The total value of the entire market now stands at a massive 162.1 trillion naira. The big numbers at a glance compared to yesterday show total shares traded as 1.56 billion units, that is up 26%. Total money spent is 91.66 billion naira, up 32%. Number of deals is 76,431, which is down by 5%. Then out of the 133 companies that traded, 39 moved up in price. Berger Paints was a star of the show, making their investors very, very happy with a huge price jump, with the banking sector dominating the traffic also today. You know, while fewer deals were closed today, the big boys moved more money and larger volumes of shares into the market, especially within the banking sector. That is it on business and news for the midweek update. It's time to take a breather. Do stay with us as News Extra continues.
Thanks for remaining with us. Some leaders in the governing All Progressives Congress say the calm atmosphere in which the APC is conducting primary elections nationwide can be directly attributed to the style of leadership provided by President Bola Tinubu. They posit that this serenity within the party will be of huge benefit in the upcoming general election. The president was also acknowledged for his experience in grassroots politics, which helped guide the party to enhance internal democracy and party cohesion with regards to the consensus arrangement being adopted in several states. Speaking to newsmen in Abuja, the Deputy President of the Senate, Barau Jibrin, who has emerged as the consensus candidate for Kano North Senatorial District, said such arrangement is of benefit to APC as it removes points of conflict for stability and success as the party moves to the next stage of political activity.
Time we're having the president who began as a grassroots politician to become the president of this country. So it's been guiding us in respect of the need to be united at all times. So he's doing a wonderful job, and most of the states will have this wonderful arrangement, the first time in the history of politics in this country. Of course, not only him, even his lieutenants are doing, wonderful job in this regard, resolving, issues amongst aspirants, like the political advisor to the president, Alhaji Ibrahim Kabiru Masari, and of course most of the governors are also working in line with this, allowing for party unity. So it's going to be something that will be wonderful. It's going to be good for the party.
And still on politics, the stability of Gombe State is bigger than the ambition of any politician. Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya stated this in a live statewide broadcast. Emmanuel Akila reports that the governor also said that the All Progressives Congress consensus primary elections earlier conducted in the state have been set aside, as the party would now conduct a direct primary election to determine candidates for the party at all levels of elective positions.
The APC in Gombe State on the 3rd of May 2026 in a stakeholders meeting came up with elected candidates for the party at all levels of elective positions through consensus to fly the party's flag in the 2027 general elections. The outcry by some of the unsuccessful aspirants for a direct primary election received an answer during the governor's broadcast.
Some weeks ago, with the support of the APC Elders Committee and the State Executive Committee, we in the APC made a spirited attempt to explore the consensus option. That exercise, done in good faith and in order to preserve unity, was a huge success, as many aspirants rallied behind our endorsed candidates across various elective offices. However, complete consensus could not be reached due to disagreements from a few aspirants. In the absence of unanimous acceptance of the consensus option, we must proceed with direct primaries in line with Section 87, Section 2 of the Electoral Act.
Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya called for peaceful conduct of primary elections, not only by the APC, but by all political parties in the state.
I remain committed to providing a level playing field for all political parties and individuals to express their choices and attain political prominence by being elected to high political offices. Let me be very clear. There will be zero tolerance for violence, lawlessness, and political rascality from any individual or group.
The broadcast precedes a joint security meeting chaired by the governor with heads of security agencies, traditional leaders, and other stakeholders in attendance. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
Away from Gombe State now, political stakeholders in Jahun local government area have reaffirmed their loyalty to the All Progressives Congress, APC, following the defection of prominent members of the People's Democratic Party to the ruling party in the state. The new defectors were formally presented to Umar Namadi during a ceremony held at the government house in Dutse. Mohammed Musa Askira reports.
The event attracted top party leaders, including the speakers of the State House of Assembly, the state APC chairman, and other party stalwarts from across the state. Speaking on behalf of the stakeholders, party leaders described that Jahun, once regarded as a stronghold of the PDP, had now formally aligned with the APC. They expressed confidence that all the 11 political wards in the local government area would deliver overwhelming support for the APC in the 2027 general elections. Leading the campaigns was former chairman of the Jahun local government area, Musa Garba, whose political influence and widespread acceptance were described as a major boost to the APC in Jigawa state and the country at large. Addressing the gathering, Governor Umar Namadi assured the new entrants of fairness, justice and a level playing ground within the party structure. The governor stated that the growing wave of defections by influential political figures across Jigawa state was a clear indication that the APC remained the dominant political force in the state.
We thank God for this, our drive for attracting people to APC is yielding a lot of results for us. And you can see that in the last 1 month, the way people have been coming back to APC from all different angles, from NMPP, from PDP, and even from the new party. People are now reversing back. So this shows that at least we thank God for this, and we'll continue to talk to people, and we'll continue to contact people.
He added that with the continuous support of the people, victory for the APC in 2027 general elections is assured. In Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
Still looking at political matters, the Democratic Leadership Alliance has held its maiden national convention, positioning itself as a political platform for the youths. Tessio Mary reports that Samuel Meme emerged as the national chairman of the party.
The Democratic Leadership Alliance, one of the newly registered political parties, has set the stage for youths to participate actively in the 2027 general election. With an ideology of building a Nigeria where youths take their rightful place in politics, the party's maiden convention is dominated by youths from across the country who converged on Abuja. The party says it promises to provide equal opportunities for all, irrespective of gender and status. A female aspirant of the party, Abisayo Akinadeju, advocates for more women representation in politics.
I spent 15 years studying this country. I spent 15 years advocating for a better Nigeria, raising leaders in public schools, in different places. Then I realized, for how long are we going to stand behind the scene and say we want change? If we really want the change, then we need to step into the arena.
Women should participate in leadership roles and governance. And of course, I also advocate that women affairs should be left to the women.
Samuel Meme, who was the caretaker chairman of the party, emerged as the newly elected national chairman of the party.
The DLA is not just a political party for elections. It's a political party, for training, for youth entrepreneurship programs. And of course, we are transforming the system by bringing in ideology that befits what Nigeria really needs at this time.
With the successful convention of the party producing members of the National Working Committee, the party says it is ready to hold primaries this month. In Abuja, Tessie Omeri, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Nigeria Democratic Congress, NDC, has announced the schedule for the conduct of its primary elections, with presidential aspirants expected to pay 60 million naira, while governorship aspirants 30 million naira to secure their nomination and expression of interest forms ahead of the 2027 general election. NDC National Chairman Moses Cleopas, in a statement, announced that the sale of forms will commence from May 13 to May 18. The party also advised aspirants to attend the planned screening exercise with their relevant credentials and supporting documents. Meanwhile, female aspirants and persons living with disability are to pay 50% and 25% of the fees across all categories. The presidential primary will hold in Abuja on May 29th. Another break is due. Please don't go anywhere. The significance of sports tourism in driving national development, as well as the need for stronger collaboration among critical sectors, came into focus at the maiden edition of the National Sports Tourism Conference and Exhibition held in Abuja. The conference brought together key stakeholders in the sports tourism industry, including the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, who delivered a paper on the growth and influence of sports broadcasting in Nigeria. Francis Bile reports.
Team leveraging the intersection of multi-sectoral MDAs to promote sport tourism in Nigeria, the conference brought together industry experts to explore how sports tourism can drive national development.
Tourism and sports, they help each other
to grow. And once that happens, the economy becomes great.
Director General of the Nigeria Television Authority, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, represented by the General Manager of NTA Sports 24, Kayode Adeni, presented a paper titled Broadcasting the Thrills, NTA Television Strategies for Showcasing and Promoting Sports Tourism.
The last outcome, CAF was able to give Nigerian audience what we call terrestrial. That all you need to do is just on your TV, whether you have cable or you don't have a cable, just on your TV, and you are going to be watching. And that's the superpower of NTA today.
The greater task ahead for all the relevant stakeholders is to work in unison in driving the growth of sports tourism.
Nigeria is suffering the backwardness in tourism, especially in sports, because there is a whole lot of deficit in infrastructure.
Number one, out of the recommendation is to establish a National Sport Tourism Council.
Participants expressed optimism that NASTOS will serve as a sustained platform for policy dialogue, investment, and collaboration in Nigeria's sports tourism sector. In Abuja, Francis Kabile, NTA Sports.
NTA leads, as far as the media industry is concerned in sports, is not left out. Vade Adeleye has more reports on sports, of course. Vade, let's hear you.
Vade, thanks, Yara. Let's begin with